everyone. I'm Rochelle Chernowski, and this is Shell Point Today for Tuesday, October 7th. On today's show, a preview of the Health Connections program, Macular Degeneration, a medical condition that usually affects older adults and may result in the loss of vision. Plus, an inside look at Day Respite at the Arbor, a great program offering respite services for residents in need of support care or companionship. And what about those curious cabinets at the Arbor? We'll hear the stories behind the many Curio cabinets lining the halls. But first, it started out as a small tin mining town in the 1800s, but now Kuala Lumpur has become a mecca for finance and culture. The heart of Malaysia is the subject of Professor Adrian Kerr's Academy class, Kuala Lumpur from Tin and Rubber to Asian Commercial Giant. The class is today at 10 in the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands. It's just $10 and sign-up is required. If you're looking for an Oktoberfest feast, you'll want to take a trip up to the Crystal Room on the island this evening. All of your German favorites from Jäger Schnitzel to Sauerbraten short ribs to Spätzle will be served buffet style from 4 until 7 for just $14.95. And tomorrow, Intermediate Bridge Session 2 gets underway. It'll run on 4 consecutive Wednesdays beginning tomorrow and ending on October 29th. It's $48 for the 4-week session, and it will take place in the game room at the Woodlands from 1 until 3:30. Sign-ups are required. For many of you, your day is occupied by taking care of a loved one. Keeping busy overseeing their well-being leaves little time for you to take care of your own well-being. Well, a program here at Shell Point is now allowing caregivers the opportunity to take time for themselves. The Day Respite program at the Arbor might be just the thing you need. We recently spoke to a Shell Point resident who is taking advantage of this great benefit here at Shell Point.
Hi, I'm Rita Southern, the Director of Assisted Living here at Shell Point. We're here today to talk a little bit more about the Arbor Day Respite Program that is new to our Shell Point residents as a service. Joining me is Mr. Carl Meyer. He is one of our caregivers here at Shell Point. It's nice to have you here, Mr. Meyer.
It's good to be here. I hope what I have to say will help other folks know about the Respite Care Program and how neat it is for a caregiver.
It's not always easy for a caregiver to think about trusting someone else with the care of their loved one. Talk a little bit about some of the things that you've gone through, some of the challenges that you've gone through.
Somehow having somebody in my home is not as acceptable to me as having my wife in a daycare. We used a daycare that was in the pavilion about 6-7 months ago. And then when that closed, went to one called Sunrise down off College, which was some commuting, a really great place. And the interesting things that happened was my wife wasn't sure where she was going when I left her off, but enjoyed being there and had was a better person at the end of the day. And certainly I was a better person having some release and being able to do some things that had to be done, not only the housework and shopping, but to be able to have my own time.
As a caregiver, that time is very important that you take not only for yourself but for your wife. As she has entered into our day respite program at the Arbor, what are some of the things that she enjoys doing?
It's difficult not to enjoy going to the Arbor. And probably the neatest part is you have to walk and turn left and take the elevator and turn right and walk along. And just by walking through the place, you feel good. It's a lovely place. It's peaceful. All the residents and all the employees are happy and cheerful and say hello. And I think that sets a tone for the respite care. The neat part about it for me is it's part of the Shell Point community. When you move here, you move to be in a protective atmosphere. Not only your apartment, but there's a lot of activities going on. And moving out to go to another place, which we did for 6 months, was okay, but using an hour and a half or 2 hours a day to commute left a shorter time for me to accomplish the things I have to do and want to do. So, and this is part of Shell Point, so there's a much better feeling of if something happens, I know where I can go to get assistance. It's a credibility that Shell Point's backing it. So I have to tell you, it's a reprieve for me, the 3 days. And it's going to extend the ability for us, my wife and I, to remain in our apartment.
I think from a caregiver standpoint, it's good to see your wife in a condition, in a situation where she can do well. She can have a positive relationship. That stimulation, one of the things that we've talked about is, Betty, you need to send them home tired. And she has taken that challenge to heart.
She really has. They paid, was it wiffle ball or?
Noodle ball.
Noodle ball. Right.
The exercise, I think, has been a real common ground for folks.
It's really been kind of neat, and it's in a large room, which is a comfortable setting for half a dozen folks, and they can partake in some of the things that are going on at the Arbor. I mean, it's a win-win, and the Arbor people say hello. I mean, they love seeing new people. I think it's a win-win. I'm out of the place and there in 5 minutes, and I can pick her up in 5 minutes. Wow, that's kind of neat.
You found the program fairly easy to get involved with?
Yes. As a caregiver, one of the simple things to do is I put out a weekly calendar that I keep in the kitchen. For both me, I don't think Gail uses it, but it keeps me and it's something. So there's some organization for her to hang into, much as the apartment she's comfortable with. So this, a week ahead of time, we sign up for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I lock it in there and lock it in my own schedule. But you can call and go a half day or a day. We have friends who go a half day, afternoon, and some who go 2 days, and some who go in the morning. And one of them goes in the morning while the spouse plays tennis.
I think that's important for caregivers to know, is that we're willing to be flexible to their schedule. Thank you so much, Mr. Meyer, for being here and sharing your story. It's so helpful for other caregivers to hear your firsthand information, and we're happy that Mrs. Meyer is a part of our program.
I am too.
Thank you all.
Another great service you'll want to take advantage of is the Your Medical Community programs being offered through Health Connections. And the first one of the fall is coming up this Friday, October 10th. Dr. Trevor Elmquist will talk about macular degeneration. With more now on this topic, here are Mary Franklin and Dr. Trevor Elmquist.
I'm Mary Franklin with the Health Connection program. It's coming up on Friday, October 10th at 1 p.m. in the community room of the Arbor, and it is macular degeneration, back and presented by one of our Shell Point favorites, Dr. Elmquist. Dr. Elmquist, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mary. I'm really glad to be here.
Yes, you are one of the Shell Point favorites. I know a lot of our residents come to see you at the Arbor as one of our specialty doctors. Well, give us a brief description of macular degeneration. I know that there's two different kinds, right? It can come wet and dry.
True. Those are kind of great big categories. There are probably lots of different kinds. But we kind of differentiate wet and dry. Dry meaning there's no bleeding or new blood vessels growing up through the retina. And of course, wet is there are new blood vessels growing up through the retina, and they can leak and bleed. And that gives us a sign that we're in a whole different category of treatment then.
And I know that you're going to educate the residents on macular degeneration. And even if they don't have signs and symptoms now, they should still come. So if it does happen, they're ready, or they're going to, a loved one or a friend, they may help them along the way. What's the percentage again?
Well, we were talking, you know, we have about 13% of Caucasians or white people having macular degeneration, once they hit in their 70s, 80s, and 90s,
Okay.
there are quite a few factors that play into why does our macula start to crack. It's like, I'm going to show pictures at our talk coming soon, that it's like cracks in your driveway. And you know, when the cement gets old, it cracks.
Yes.
Then the little weeds grow up through there. Well, that's the blood vessels growing up from the back of the retina through there, and then they bleed. So we don't want those little weeds growing up and through there.
All right. Wow. Dr. Elmquist, you're a great doctor and a great educator, and this is going to be a very informative conversation that you can have with Dr. Elmquist. Once again, it's on Friday, October 10th at 1 p.m. in the community room at the Arbor. You can sign up at either service desk. For Dr. Elmquist, I'm Mary Franklin. Make it a happy and healthy day.
Well, if you've spent any time in the Arbor, you've definitely seen the beautiful cabinets outside of all of the apartments. But it's what's inside these Curio cabinets that has many people curious as they pass by. We spoke with some of the folks that have put their hearts into filling the cabinets with treasured trinkets and heard the stories behind what's inside.
Hi, I'm Brianna. Today we're here at the Arbor, and one of the things you might not know about the building is that every resident's apartment has a curio cabinet outside, and these cabinets provide an opportunity for residents to express themselves, their interests, and their personalities. So let's take a look. So here we are with Betty, and Betty, why don't you tell us a little about what's in your cabinet?
Well, these are little wooden buildings. Mostly they look like bird houses that you can get in almost any craft store. And I got them and brought them home and painted them because I thought it would be fun to paint. And I'm glad I did because it's perfect for this little case here. And well, it's just that all my life I've been into crafts and things, and I started real early, just always did a certain amount of painting and went to special painting classes when I was in school, and it was just something that I liked and something that I did. And no great talent, but enough talent to keep me going on it.
So this is the Montes, and why don't you guys tell us a little bit about what you've got in your curio cabinet?
I became a dinaholic in the early 1990s, and there were big groups of us, and we had seminars and places to go, and group meetings and trips, and so on. And one day my daughter came with this dish and cup, which I thought was wonderful. So that's sort of symbolic of a part of my life that I really enjoyed, and so is this. Now the other thing I want to tell you about is this is the only trophy I ever won, ever, in my whole life. And I had the high game in 1952 in intramurals at Queens College. So I cherish that.
Did you say you'd never bowled before?
Well, I used to bowl a little bit, but this was a good game. 201.
That's a good game.
For me.
So, this funny character here made out of odds and ends of spoons and, forks. I thought, I saw this in a catalog and I thought it was really clever, very creative. And I like the way it has a character of its own. You see how the forks of the arms, the last tine is bent in, it holds to hold a salt and pepper shaker. And when my grandchildren were here, they just loved it, this character. And I said, why do you think it has such big feet? They use these big serving spoons for the feet. And they were saying, it balances better. I said, okay, I used to be a teacher, early childhood teacher. And I call this character Spike. You notice his hairdo? Okay.
But I liked what you said before about them. You said it was a little bit of her and a little bit of you, and then the diner is a little bit of you both.
Very nice.
We're both dinaholics.
This is Rose. And Rose, why don't you explain what you're displaying here?
Well, I was a telemarketer one time. And every week you got a prize for how many? But then at the end of the month, whoever got the most orders, most orders would get a clock. So these are all my clocks that I won. I was a good worker. Because one night, something was wrong with the clocks inside. I couldn't figure out. So I says, where else would there be a clock? So I came out in my nightgown and looked at the time over here. I talked to different people. I talked to the Fiji Islands was in Washington, and they called me. And there was the ambassador from Fiji Island. Matter of fact, he says, could I come visit you? I says, come on over. So he come over. They come over and they kissed me and they hugged me, like as if we were old-time friends. And I just talked to them on the phone. They ordered 2 orders, and they loved the product. So that's how I won all these clocks. So when I came here, my daughter says to me, Ma, you're going to go live in one room and you bring your 6 clocks with you? And I have 3 more inside. I says, oh, this is just to show people how smart I was and how well I could order. And that's it.
This is Mel. Mel, would you mind sharing a little bit about what you have here?
Well, I have 2 awards that I received at the Forest Country Club for holes in one. And I never intended to place those in there, but I had an interior decorator when I moved. And she decided on what furniture I could take, and etc. And when she passed in the den, those 2 items, she said, oh, you can put those in the Curio. And do you want to do that? My sons were there and they said, oh, that's a good idea. That's why they're there.
Shows a little bit about what you're interested in, because you've played a lot of golf.
I played a lot of golf, and I did get another hole-in-one when I lived in Dallas, but I didn't get an award for that because I didn't belong to the holes-in-one club. But yeah, it's fine. I've had comments on it.
Okay, well, we're here with Doris. Hi, Doris.
Hi.
And she's going to tell us a little bit about what's in her curio cabinet.
My grandparents, both sets of grandparents, my mother and my father, Swedish, and they came from the southern part of Sweden. Of course, you can see this is the way the Swedish people lived way back when and how they dressed. Not anymore, but this Swedish flag is blue and yellow. And this is the dollar horse. You know, lumber, it was great in Sweden. And the men stayed in camps out in the forest. And they'd be gone for a whole week. And when they had extra wood and time time for themselves, they would start carving. And eventually they became so popular that they began to sell them. So they painted them, and the children and the people could paint them all different colors. And so that's how the dollar horse became so popular.
Now it's time to cover all of today's happenings, Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections.
Welcome everybody to the happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Bev Chandley. I'm here with Jill Alderink, and we're going to go over the activities that we offer for you here at Shell Point. 7:15, we have an early class. It's a Health Connections, Bend, Breathe, and Balance. That'll be in the health club on the island. At 8 o'clock, we have pickleball at the pickleball court. Also at 8 o'clock, we have the round robin doubles tennis down at the Woodlands tennis courts. We're going to move to 8:15 for the stamp ministry. That's in the stamp room down in the tunnel. At 8:30, the bocce group will be at the bocce court, which is across from the Woodland Commons. 8:30, we have Ladies Golf Association down at the golf club. We're going to move to 9:15, where a caregiver support group and memory care group will be in the second floor of the rehab center. At 9:15, we have open painting down in the art studio. Also at 9:15, the shuffleboard courts will be busy, so head on down there and enjoy a game. At 9:30, we have match play mixed doubles tennis at the tennis courts. And Through the Bible study group will be in the Osprey room at 10:15. The caregiver support group and memory care group will meet at 10:30 on the second floor of the rehab center. And we'll round out the morning at 11:45 with the Health Connections class, Living Healthy. That's in the Osprey room. Now here's Jill to tell you what's going on this afternoon.
Well, we start the afternoon with Mixed Progressive Bridge, and they meet in the game room at the Woodlands. And then at 1 o'clock, there's a shopping excursion to Whole Foods Market. The island pickup begins at 1 o'clock, Woodlands at 1:10, and Eagles Preserve at 1:20. Sign up is required for that. At 1:15, you have choices. The Knitters group meets in the Osprey room on the island. The Rollicking Recordists get together in the Tarpon room. And our final 1:15 activity is the Women's Ministry Prayer Group. They're currently meeting at 408 Royal Bonnet. At 1:30, we have Health Connections Aqua Pilates Stretch. And they work out in the LifeQuest Aquatic Center. At 1:30, the Stamp Ministry meets in the Sable room at the Woodlands. And that's followed by a Health Connections Balanced Mobility Training Level 2 in the Health Club on the island, and they meet at 2:45. And then at 4 o'clock until 7 o'clock, head on out to the Crystal Dining Room for the Oktoberfest. There'll be lots of great food, fun, and music for all. 6:45 concludes our evening in the Resident Activity Center with the Hymn Sing, so come on out for that. Well, we have something for everyone here at Shell Point, so you get up, get out, and make it a great day.
Hi, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information for Tuesday. Improving your computer skills continues at 9:15 in the Computer Teaching Center on the island, and live figure drawing using charcoal and pencils continues at 9:30 in the Sable Room of the Woodlands. At 10 o'clock, we welcome Professor Adrian Kerr for Kuala Lumpur, taking place in the Grand Cypress Room, and you can sign up right at the door. At 10:15, we begin Apple iPad. Why do I need one? Will it replace my PC? And the Manatee Room on the island for those who have signed up. At 1:30, another Apple iPad class, Apps, in the Oak Room of the Woodlands, again for those who have signed up. Tomorrow we have a new class. Session 2 of Intermediate Bridge begins with Susan Willoughby. I'd like to remind you to please think a minute about the Pavilion Auxiliary and support the 250 residents who serve in your skilled nursing facility by giving generously to the Auxiliary Bakeless Bake Sale.
Menus for Tuesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is meatloaf and mashed potatoes, broccoli, and cauliflower. The dinner special is the Oktoberfest buffet for $14.95, and the soup of the day is cream of mushroom. In the Island Cafe for lunch, the special is a Philly cheesesteak panini with chips for $7.25. The dinner special is grilled tilapia with rice pilaf and fresh spinach for $8.25. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are steak Diane for $14.95 or triple tail for $15.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
It's a joy to welcome you today to Village Church Connections. I'm here with our international worker in residence, Janice Quinlan. Welcome, Janice.
Thank you, Glenda.
Janice, you have not been at Shell Point for Operation Christmas Child before.
Right.
But every year, we engage with Operation Christmas Child. We pack shoe boxes, we bring them to the village church, and we send them off around the world. And this year, our goal is 400 boxes.
Wow.
So we're hoping between the Shell Point community and the members of the village church, we can pack a lot of boxes and send them overseas. And I wanted to talk to you about this ministry because I know when you were in Thailand, you saw this ministry happen up close and personal. Tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, well, the boxes come to Thailand and they arrive in Bangkok, and they contact the churches and ask if they'd like to participate, if there's someone that could come and pick up the boxes, and how many they would like to receive. And in almost every situation, these boxes are used for outreaches in villages and communities. So it's not something that they use within the church, but it's their way to reach out to their community by having a children's event. And the great joy that these village children have, who almost never get a gift, even on their own birthday, to receive a box and open the box and find out what was packed for them. If it's joyous for you to pack them, it's twice as much for us to receive them.
As you've observed this happening and taking place and children opening their boxes, do you have any useful hints for us when we're packing a box? What do they like?
Well, one thing that I've noticed is a big hit are caps, baseball caps, those kind of things. Kids seem to like bubbles. That's always fun for almost every age group. Balloons, things that are like toys, or sometimes they like to have a pretty cup that might have a picture of a Barbie doll or cartoons or something that they can use personally in their room or in their house. So really the basics are the things that children in other cultures like.
I appreciate you sharing that. That just inspires us to begin to think about Operation Christmas Child. Boxes will soon be available at the village church. People can pick them up and take them home, pack them. But now's a good time to just begin to watch for sales and things like that. Our collection dates will happen middle of November, and there'll be quite a bit of promo that'll be out as we approach that time. Thank you, Janice, for sharing that with us, and thank you for being with us today. Don't forget to pick up your box and begin to think about packing it for Operation Christmas Child this year. Have a wonderful day.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in tomorrow as we tackle the problem of global hunger with Dr. Martin Price. Plus, many people think that having a visual impairment will also impair their ability to function normally on a day-to-day basis. Not so, say the folks of the Vision Enrichment Support Group. And as many of the ladies say, there aren't many things better than a classic French manicure. Until then, this is Shell Point Today for Tuesday, October 7th. I'm Rochelle Chernowski, and for all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.